Hello, today we will be examining and detailing the mechanisms, anatomy, and evolutionary background which make up elephant communication. To begin, we will first examine basic details of elephants. Elephants may be best known as being the most massive animal found on Earth's surface. There are three claimed species. Two, African bush and African forest, are appropriately found in Africa. The other is located in Southeast Asia. Elephants are widely known for their high intelligence and memory capabilities, as well as being largely personable and social creatures. Examining a comparison of a human, whale, and elephant brain, these properties make sense as on an ultimate size comparison, high-functioning areas of the brain will be vastly enlarged in the elephant brain. These and similar basic differences in neuroanatomy are easily visibly apparent.
In general, how do elephants communicate? At the most basic level, elephants communicate via high-amplitude, low-frequency vocalizations known as infrasound. These immensely powerful intonations result in seismic disturbances. The combination of these acoustic and seismic signals make up the main communication modality of elephants. So then, what exactly is infrasound? Infrasound is defined as sound, which is the propagation of vibrations through a medium with a frequency less than 20 Hz. Frequency is the property of sound responsible for the pitch you hear. Higher frequency equates to higher pitch, and vice versa. This 20 Hz marker exists as the barrier to infrasound, as it correlates with the bottom threshold perceivable by humans.
Variations in hearing, like most biological properties, are present across many species. As illustrated, few species are actually able to perceive into the low infrasound spectrum. However, it should be noted there is a similar case of species variance on the upper end of the acoustic spectrum, ultrasound, as well. Essentially, somewhat in theory, when a tree falls in the forest, there is potentially a vast discrepancy of species who may or may not hear it. This, in turn, provides many alternative motivations for an animal's use of infrasound.
Infrasound and its associative modality as seismic disturbances has widespread use across the animal kingdom. Animals of all sizes and species utilize this form of communication for a variety of motivations. Some, such as the golden mole, use vibrations generated by their prey to better hunt. Others, like the kangaroo rat, use drumming-like behaviors to deter predators. Due to the large discrepancy in species acoustic perception, it can provide a rather private channel of communication. A key feature of elephant infrasound communication is the distance it can travel. In optimal conditions, a single elephant infrasonic sound can travel up to 10 kilometers. This distance is needed to communicate with other elephant families and to tell mature male elephants that a female is ready to reproduce. Female reproductive cycles are only active 4 to 5 days every 4 years, meaning long-distance communication is vital to the survival of the species. This long-distance communication is seen in whales, which can also produce infrasound. They can make a sound travel almost the distance of a whole ocean with perfect conditions and no outside interference, thus making the distance infrasound can travel being dependent on the size of the animal. The bigger the animal, the more distance a sound can travel. This is the phylogeny tree of current extant elephants. The closest living relative is the manatee. Due to this, they share some common characteristics such as infrasound communication and seismic detection. This tree helps to show if the infrasound and seismic capabilities are one of the three types of evolution: divergent, convergent, or parallel evolution. Divergent evolution occurs when two species become increasingly different from each other. The relationship between the Sirenia family and the elephants is an example of divergent evolution, in which they share a common ancestor in infrasound and seismic detection capabilities, but are vastly different from each other in other aspects. Other similarities between elephants and other species that can produce infrasound are either convergent or parallel, depending on their interactions over time.
Generating stimuli of this power and magnitude is no easy task, and the exact specifics on the process remain poorly understood. However, the basic mechanisms to elephant vocalizations have been recently outlined. Narrowing the process down to one of either muscular or respiratory origins, it was revealed the mode was similar to that of human speech, in that vocal cord vibrations are generated through the propulsion of air originating in the lungs across and through the larynx tube. Fundamental to this process is the subsequent propagation of seismic disturbances as a result of the huge amplitude of the acoustic signals. These combine into a vastly dynamic and complex mode of communication. Luckily, elephants have a number of evolutionary and in turn anatomical properties at their disposal which aid in these processes.
Elephants benefit from their immense stature in three fundamental ways in regards to vocal stimuli generation. The first advantage comes in the form of the elephant's larynx. The length of the larynx, or voice box, allows for the generation of the low frequency sounds that elephants are capable of. The elongation allows deeper sounds to be produced. This similar feature is seen in human males upon the onset of puberty. Their larynx lengthens, which creates the deeper voice. In animals that produce infrasound, such as elephants, this happens on a more extreme and exaggerated level, and the sounds produced are so deep and so low, humans and other species cannot hear it.
Continuing with advantages of the larynx, an elephant's larynx and surrounding area contains only 5 of the usual 9 bones present in the structure. This allows for far greater flexibility and muscular surface area within this region, subsequently allowing for these infrasonic productions and in turn vibrational stimuli. Lastly, the reverberation chamber at their disposal, which is the space allocated to generation of deep, lower frequency vibrations, is much larger simply due to the animal's size. A similar concept is seen in the comparison of instruments in the string family. A violin has the small internal body chamber, isolating it to a much higher overall frequency spectrum of notes when compared to a cello or double bass. Since elephants are sending out 2 modalities of signals, in infrasound and seismic stimuli, it is necessary for them to be able to detect, receive, and interpret both of these stimuli, often simultaneously. This complex signal detection is done a variety of ways as to best capture all incoming stimuli and process them concurrently. Generally, these mechanisms fall into 2 categories involving bone conduction and the use of fats and oils. The methods themselves include unique middle ear and skull structures, acoustic fat, and somatosensory corpuscles.
Within the 2 main sensory detection pathways mentioned, which are available to elephants, bone conduction and mechanoreception of vibrations, the middle ear plays the fundamental role in the former. The malleus, the first of the 3 middle ear bones, is greatly enlarged relative to other species. This size allows for the bones of the middle ear to operate and vibrate independent of those affecting the skull. The potential advantage this gives elephants cannot be understated, as it allows for their main communication channels to remain undisturbed by internal or environmental factors. Elephants also benefit from the anatomical lining up of their front feet with their main acoustic chambers.
Continuing anatomical advantages, the skull structure of an animal is a key determining factor in the potential perception of low-frequency sounds available to them. Aerated skulls, meaning there are many air-filled cavities, help in infrasound detection, as this increases the internal reverberation volume available to the stimuli. Elephants and their closest living relative, manatees, have aerated skulls.
The use of fat in a body part helps in the detection of vibrational or seismic signals. The fat captures the signals and is similar to the ear hearing a sound. The fat feels the signal. This acoustic fat is most prominently found in dolphins and other marine animals such as hippos. Dolphins have this acoustic fat located in their nose, while elephants have it located on the bottom of their feet. Contained within the fat are oils which serve as sort of lens in their convergence and amplifying of incoming stimuli.
Similar to the general fat pads present in elephant feet, the feet also contain specialized sensory organs known as Pacinian corpuscles. These receptors have huge sensitivity ranges and largely contribute to the vast detection range of elephants. Interesting evolutionary aspects are at play here as well, as Pacinian corpuscles are found in many other species, such as cats or even the star-nosed mole. The case of the star-nosed mole is interestingly split, as it is somewhat more analogous to the corpuscles which are found in the trunk of the elephant, which see a more classic tactile sensory usage. However, the mole clearly fundamentally operates on seismic stimuli, similar to elephants. Still, it provides important insight into the variety of evolutionary paths these biological mechanisms can take. So, here we have examined a general overview of how exactly it is elephants communicate. The signal, or output portion, consists of infrasonic stimulus with such high amplitude it couples with a seismic disturbance. This output is generated the same as human speech via air vibrating internal vocal cords. Evolutionary and developmental advantages facilitate this output, such as elephants' large and flexible larynx region and their overall large mass. An elephant's increase in size specifically is an example of both an evolution and developmental property, as the species' mass increased over time and individuals within the population go through a size spectrum within its own life. This generated output is received, as it is sent, as a combination of acoustic and seismic stimulus. Anatomical properties specific to elephants largely aid in this reception, such as their oversized malleus in the inner ear. However, instances of homologous structures like Pacinian corpuscles or aerated skulls also significantly contribute to stimulus recognition. Properties of elephant communication, such as its dual modality and long-reaching distances, are understood by scientists, but overall, much of the interactions both within and across species of elephants remain poorly researched. As a creature which also finds itself often on the wrong end of trophy hunting and illegal trading, understanding and appreciating it while extant is of fundamental importance. If, for nothing else, understanding the inner workings of the largest brain found on land and the immaculate ways in which it is developed to communicate and exist at such vast distances has clear potential servings, especially to a human species seemingly obsessed with communication.